Loops. A loop is a way to repeat actions in your script, either a set number of times or until something changes. Example, loop through each item in an array and print it. Or repeat a block of code while a timer is running. Why it's useful. Loops let your script do things again and again without writing the same code over and over. Well, let's put loops into practice. I'm going to double-click on the activity maker template, and I'll call my project Fibonacci. Essentially what we're going to do is have the player try to guess the next number in a sequence, and what they won't know is that this is really a Fibonacci sequence. So Fibonacci, it's an easy concept to understand. The Fibonacci sequence is a sequence in which each number is the sum of the two preceding numbers. So, Fibonacci numbers are strongly related to the golden ratio or the golden spiral, featured prominently in the design of natural things like pine cones, for example, and human designs like a page layout. So the game is essentially figuring out each number in a sequence of numbers that follows Fibonacci. Let's give our page an ID, call this game. Now this will just be the start of a game. What we'll focus on here is simply the loop in generating the sequence of numbers. We'll use a design style, and for this game I'll select Art Deco and apply that. Then I'll select Tools and Themes. I'll create a background color and then go into Advanced and hide that header. We're ready to go. Let's use our SVG editor. Essentially what we're going to do is create a series of 7 tiles. Now we'll go ahead and populate those tiles right away with the Fibonacci sequence, but you can see how we can make a game of it by just hiding each tile. Let's create our tiles. I'll hold down the Shift key to create a perfect square. Use my selection tool, give it a color. Need to be sure that I select the tile. There we go. And then I'm going to put a number in the center of that tile. Let's do a couple things. One is give this a bit of a stroke. Incidentally, if you want to change the stroke color, so this is the fill and this is the stroke color, you can simply select this and then select from your palette. And you can see that color come through. Good. Now I'll take my number and increase the font size. I can't do it too much because we'll need to fit double-digit numbers. I'll select these two and duplicate. And I'll select these two and duplicate. select these three and duplicate. Okay, I'm going to use the fit tool just to give me a little more canvas. So now everything's fitted. So essentially what we've done is we fit the canvas to the objects that were in our editor. This is a very, very important step now. We need to, because we'll be creating a loop, because we'll be looping through 7 times, we'll need to be able to access this number from our loop. And the way we'll do that is by giving it an ID. We'll use tile underscore and then a number. Now, this number at the end is critical because as we move through our loop, we'll be able to target this tile, and you'll see how we do that. You must hit enter. So once you've given it an ID, you must hit enter. And now we'll go ahead and provide an ID for each tile. Essentially what I'm writing is tile underscore 3 and then hitting enter. We're almost there. This part's a little tedious, giving each one of these an ID. Tile 6 and then tile 7. Now to ensure that each of these has an ID, I'll just very quickly click on them. Tile 2, tile 3, tile 4, 5, 6, and 7. Great. Now, we're done with that part. Let's create our loop. And because that part was kind of tedious, let's ensure that we save in a second here. But first, what I want to do is use 100% of the screen and center that graphic. Good. We could have taken the time to, ensure that the spacing was right and so forth, but you get the idea. Now we'll click on our branch option. So this is our page level script branch option that's executed on page show. And here because we're scripting, we'll execute command. And that gives us our editor, and we get to begin. The very first thing we're going to do is initialize a couple of variables. We're going to declare first number and second number. We'll give first number the value of 0 and second number the value of 1. Now these really they'll be off screen, but they're really the first two numbers in our Fibonacci sequence, 0 and 1. And you'll see very quickly how we use them. Here's our loop. This will be a for loop. For loop has 3 parts to it. The first part is initializing the variable that will be used in the loop. Then we end that with a semicolon. The second part is the conditions, where we'll loop as long as I is less than 7. Now I will forever be less than 7 unless we increment it, unless we add a value to it. So we're going to use the increment operator. Essentially what this means is I is assigned the value of I plus 1. It's just shorthand for that. And then we have curly brace, so this is our block. The beginning, so curly brace, and then right curly brace. And we'll essentially loop through 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then drop out of the loop. We drop out as soon as this condition is no longer true. And each time we iterate, each time we loop, we're adding 1 to I. Now, because our tiles really don't start with 0, they start with 1, so they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we need to be able to target our tile by making j be assigned the value of whatever I is. J will be 1 more, and that'll allow us to target our tiles. Then we're going to create a new number, and that new number will be the first number plus the second number. So the first time through, new number will be 0 plus 1. And then for the next iteration of the loop, we have to ensure that we kind of shuffle everything down. So our first number gets assigned what our old second number was, and our second number gets assigned our new number. And you'll see that might be a little tricky to think about, but as I walk through, as I pretend that I'm a computer and step through this will make sense. And then what we're doing is changing the text. So we're using a function. And here's why it was really important to end our tiles with a number, because this is the way that we can target that tile. The first time through, I is 0, therefore j is 1. So we're now targeting tile 1. And what are we putting in there? Our new number. So to make this easier, I'm just going to add a little comment here. And what we had was initially our first number was 0 and our second number was 1. And then our new numbers become 0 plus 1 is 1, and then 1 plus 1 is 2, then 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 plus 5 is 13, and 13 plus 8 is 21. So as we loop through, we have 0, I is 0, j becomes 1, so we're targeting tile 1. The new number becomes the first number, 0 plus 1, so the new number is now 1. The first number becomes 1, the second number becomes 1, and then we change the tile. Now the second time through, I is 1, therefore j becomes 2. And then what we're doing here, our new number is going to be 2, because our first number and our second number are each 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, and then first number becomes the old second number, and second number becomes 2. And then now when we're on our third iteration, when we're 0, 1, 2, j becomes 3, so we're targeting tile 3. And the new number essentially becomes the 1 plus 2, so new number is now 3. and then the next time it'll be 5 and 8 and 13 and 21. Let's just go over our code, make sure we haven't mistyped anything. You can see again the for loop has these three parts where the initial value of I will be 0, then there's semicolon. We'll loop as long as I is less than 7, and then each time, each pass, each iteration, I will be one more than it was last time. We're adding 1 to I each time so that we can target the appropriate tile. Then the new number becomes the two preceding numbers, and then we have to update the preceding numbers. So basically, first number becomes the old second number, the old second number becomes the new number. We're just going down this sequence. Let's see if this is all going to work. By the way, I'll test, and no errors found. Save and close. Save. And let's go ahead and preview. And we'll debug this if we've made any mistakes. Now again, I have my background color that's going to be coming up. That was the color I selected in themes. And then here's the Art Deco look and feel. And we have our Fibonacci sequence, and it looks good. So 1, 2, 3. So 3 is 2 plus 1. 5 is 3 plus 2, and so forth. 7 numbers. And what you can do, the way you can turn this into a game, is not reveal these numbers here, but essentially take what you learned from guess my number and have somebody input what they think the next number in the sequence, and you can tell them, yes, you're right, you're wrong. If they get it wrong, you can then reveal the number, and then they have to figure out. So they might easily figure out that the third number is 3, because that just makes sense. And then all of a sudden, they got to guess the fourth number in the sequence, and it's not 4, it's 5. Well, what happened there? Now they've got to guess what this blank number is. So they got to look at this pattern. They may not get it. They'll guess, make a mistake, and you'll display 8. And now all of a sudden they got all this information here to try to figure out what this number should be. So it just serves as a fun game. And then of course you can vary. This is the Fibonacci sequence, but you can figure out some other rule to create your sequence. So I hope you found it useful. I hope the idea of a for loop makes sense, and how we're able to iterate through that loop to accomplish something. Apply it to your own design. Thanks so much for watching.